Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry. Anyway, shall we get on to the tweets?
Sure.
There's going to be a lot of resizing in this one because some of them are like long. So Benjamin says, now he's replying to a guy that like was a, oh wait, no. Never mind, this is not the one that I thought it was. Anyway, Benjamin says, must be a dishonest PhD. I forget what he was replying to. But he says, the Bible is studied at West Point for military tactics more than any other book. The Bible is the most peer-reviewed history, science, physics, and military text ever made, ever. Prove me wrong, Doc. Good luck.
Wait.
So, hold on. So let's just think of like one of the more famous campaigns in the Old Testament, and let's see what kind of tactical sense we can make out of it. God has Joshua's army, the Israelite army, march around the city 7 times.
Yep.
And then they blew their horns at the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and then separately an earthquake shattered the wall.
Yep.
And then they go in and destroy. I believe that was Jericho.
It was Jericho.
That's a really good military tactic. Also, there's let's not forget the tactic of have an old man stand on top of the mountain where he can oversee the whole battle, and when he raises his arms up, his side is winning, and when they fall down, his side is losing, and eventually his arms get tired, so you have to have other guys like holding his arms up for him.
Which is literally just Star Wars battle meditation, but in the Old Testament. That's all that fucking is.
Yeah. Progress only says, well, ask my friends who have a deep West Point history. And what's the answer? Is the answer yes? They study the Bible all the time at West Point for their tactics?
I need to know.
I would probably bet not. I mean, the Israelites are easily defeated by iron chariots. So, I mean, I don't know what kind of like modern tactical stuff you can pull from the Bible, especially considering how like generic its descriptions are and everything, because it's not like there's like an in-depth like after action report or anything like that.
Battles are very poetic in the Bible, not like at one point during the battle they dashed their enemies' babies' heads on the concrete. Oh, did they now? That's neat, I guess.
Are you just seeing West Point? They're like, now listen, they went in and they killed every motherfucker in there. So y'all need to just do that. Go over there and just kill everybody in the town. I feel like that's what a war crime
fucking do
is.
it.
I missed Naramdaputz's tip when it came in. He says the Catholic Church is a real example of the serious business trope.
Yeah.
And then Steve Weber says, biblical physics? Seriously? Yeah, seriously. That's
so most. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was trying to remember, like, I'm trying to think of a physics one. I like the biology ones come straight to mind because I deal with that all the time. The most ridiculous example
is Job and talk about how the world's on 4 fucking pillars.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah,
that's a physics one.
For biology, I was going to go with the goats fucking in front of a U branch. If you peel the U branch first, they have striped babies, and if you don't peel it, then they have solid colored babies, because that's how genetics work.
Exactly. Speaking of the history one, going back to the Jericho, the time at which the Bible portrays the Israelites marching and taking over Jericho, the city of Jericho, where we know that it is now, it was actually abandoned when the Bible says that it was supposed to have been, taken over by the Israelites. So, I mean, if the tactic is just make up shit and make yourself seem awesome, then maybe that's a tactic. I doubt it.
Naramdaputs has reminded me of another battle tactic. So David at one point took fewer soldiers to battle in order to show off. So if I recall, that was the one where like he was like every so often he would like thin out his soldiers, and one of them was like kneel down by the water and drink, and those who like stuck their faces in the water went to battle with him, and those that like scooped it up with their hands went home. So like that's a battle tactic. Have your soldiers all drink out of a stream, and if they stick their faces directly into the water, those are the ones that you keep.
Yeah,
No,
I
it was
think
the
that's
ones
called
that
a
stuck their
shibboleth,
faces
right?
into the water were the ones that went home.
Oh, okay, I got it backwards.
Because it
I'm
was
sorry.
that if they weren't being aware of their surroundings, he didn't want them in his army.
And then Olivia Williams points out that pi equals 3 according to the Bible, which
Look, I'm just gonna say, I wasn't aware that the reason that when I was a Christian I was so good at Command and Conquer was because the Bible was actually a strategy guide for fucking RTS games. I wasn't aware of that, but apparently, according to this dude, that's the case.
yeah. Yeah, okay. Next up, this is the one that I was going to talk about before. So Carson Crow says, your doctorate is in psychology, not medicine, just to be clear. In response to a psychologist linking to a psychology paper.
So, does she not realize that if we're talking about Autism, that we're talking about something psychological? It's in the brain.
No, this is conspiracy mentality and poor science literacy being linked to believing that vaccines cause autism. So this is not a study on autism. This is a study on the psychology of people who believe that vaccines cause autism.
Well, and I mean,
Either
speaking
way,
from
she's fucking wrong.
Well, yeah.
well, yeah. Oh, well, I mean, speaking from having an advanced degree, I mean, just because you have a degree like in one field doesn't mean that you can only speak on that field. It just means that if you speak outside your field, like you need evidence, like you need people from the field in order to back you up, which it seems like that's what he's doing here. But also the vaccines don't cause autism is a well-known thing in the scholarship, in like medical scholarship. So,
there's been a grand total of one study that found a link, and the study was so bad that the guy who published it lost his license to practice medicine. And since then, there have been thousands of studies involving millions of people that have shown no link.
No, because the only correlation that's even there is that the age at which we typically diagnose autism is a few months after the age at which we administer the
MMR.
first rounds of measles and mumps vaccines. That's what people
also,
are pointing to. Which it's a correlation. It's like ice cream and fucking murders.
Well, what the vaccines cause autism people kind of miss here is that Andrew Wakefield, the guy who published the paper, also, even if his paper was legit, it had a grand total of 12 subjects. So, like, at best, it was a pilot study that would suggest more research is needed, and that more research has been done, even though it wasn't needed because the study was completely fraudulent. But what a lot of these anti-vaxxers don't realize is that the reason he falsified his data and actually abused a lot of the kids involved in the study, just as a side note, like, there was massive issues with the whole thing, like beyond just falsifying data. It was completely unethical what he did. But his whole motivation for that was because he was about to bring to market what he saw as a competing vaccine that didn't really have any scientific backing. But he was like, if I can discredit the current vaccine, then more people will buy my vaccine. And we have Fennec says correlation does not imply causation. Correlation can imply causation, but there's a million confounding variables. Like in this case, the age of diagnosis of autism being around the same age as you get the MMR vaccine, that is completely correlative. So like there's no causal link there. There's no mechanism by which there could be a causal link. We understand enough about the causes of autism now to recognize that it's not vaccines. Like, it's not like, I think there are some genetic predispositions, but it's not entirely genetic. It seems to be like more of like the embryonic environment. I'm not sure about that. You can Don't take my word on that one. Go ask a doctor. Go ask someone who specializes in it.
We are autodidacts. We are doing our best.
Anyway, Carson's a bit of a saga here. So Joel Shukin, MD, responded to her by saying, "My doctorate is in medicine, and I specialize in developmental behavioral pediatrics, which means I work with 200 to 300 autistic children and those with other developmental or learning disabilities per month. Vaccines don't cause autism." To which Carson says, "Tell us your credentials for studying the origin of autism."
He just fucking did.
He did, but it gets better because he responded to that. And this is where I need to resize my shit. All right. It says, "Well, let's see. Maybe it's the 3 years of fellowship, including working with Charles Nelson, leading neuroscientist on prospective sibling studies of brain development, who discovered atypical ERPs in 3-month-olds with 100% predictive value at autism by 18 months. Or maybe it's my 15 years working with autistic children from infancy to adulthood, taking detailed medical and developmental histories for each, including history of vaccination or not, history of regression or not, and early signs of autism in infancy. Or maybe it's my having read every peer-reviewed study I could find on etiology and epidemiology of autism during fellowship and afterwards as part of my maintenance of board certification and to help me be a better doctor to my patients. Or perhaps it's that my life is richer than having a hashtag actually autistic people... for having actually autistic people in it, incredible people who don't deserve to be called damaged or devastated or injured, but rather understood and respected and valued." That is a massive mic drop moment right there.
So does she have a response to that? Because I need to know.
She did. I didn't screenshot it for this. It was something like, oh, okay, well, you've got these credentials for autism. Well, you don't have credentials for vaccines, so checkmate.
So she just kicks the can down to a
Yes.
different goalpost.
Yup.
Jesus God fucking ass pounding Christ.
I have a picture of that.
I don't need the picture of that.
I think I'm gonna risk it. This warrants risking it.
It's okay. At least I'm not on stream either.
Yeah,
Not right now.
If my channel goes dark, this is why.
Yep.
They look like they're having a mediocre time.
Yeah, they do. They don't look pretty happy. They don't look happy about that.
Look, I think they're roommates.
Probably.
I think they're just really good friends.
Yeah. All right. Done. Kaya Masters says, "Here's what you ghouls don't understand. I will accept one 10-year-old forced to give birth to her father's child every year to stop 30,000 other abortions."
Tell that to the 10-year-old.
And she's calling us ghouls.
Like,
for saying that
response.
Like, we're ghouls for saying that a brainless, emotionless, feelingless clump of cells can be removed and it's not immoral.
Like, anytime somebody says some shit like this, I want them to be forced. Like, I want there to be a literal government mandate that they have to physically go into the ER where this is happening. And they have to tell the 10-year-old themselves in front of their entire family. Now, whether or not they survive the ordeal, not my problem. I just think you should have the bravery to do that if you're gonna mouth off like that. That's just me.
Well, and see, this is the thing. Like, just take it to its logical conclusion. Like, if you work in a, let's say hypothetically, Kaya gets a job at an fertility clinic, and there's a canister full of 10,000 fertilized embryos, and at some point, somehow, a child ends up in the clinic with her, and the clinic's on fire. She has the choice. She can either save the canister of 10,000 embryos or the actual child who's right there. Any human being is going to just automatically, like, they might say that, like, oh yeah, I'll go for the canister of embryos, but anyone is going to go for the child and save the actual child in that scenario, because an embryo is not a child, it's an embryo. Blade Runner says, "I want to trip this woman into heavy traffic." I neither endorse nor disassociate myself from that statement.
You neither endorse nor disavow.
I'm trying to, disavow. That's the word I was looking for. Trying to go with it. I can neither confirm nor deny.
John's just sitting here like, these people are kind of violent.
A little bit. Barter. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I found out that Lake Superior has a Twitter account. I think I just found this out today. And they're kind of based. So they tweeted out Lake Superior stands with women's right to choose or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. And Barter Talk here says, as a Great Lake, shouldn't you be more concerned with bottled water companies sucking you dry? To which Lake Superior responded, lakes have the capability of holding many concerns simultaneously. Are humans not capable of that?
Yeah, like that's something that always gets me is when these people are like, shouldn't you be more concerned about this? It's like, I can care about multiple things at once.
Yeah.
Like, what the
UCG, we scanned your brain and we found that you only care about one thing right now. And I'll have you know, Ken Ham twerking on the helm of the Ark Encounter is not more important than whatever the fuck we're talking about.
Someone here. AI generate that for us, please. Do that, put it in a video. I will play it next week. I don't even care if it gets like the channel taken down or whatever for but whatever. Make that video. It'll be worth it, totally. And with AI, it should be fairly easy. I haven't figured out quite how to get apparently you can make Photoshop do animations for you with its generative fill. I haven't quite figured that one out yet, but anyway, I got another Lake Superior one. And it's another big one. So, Tom Fit something, I forget his name. It's a fairly big account, so this is like one that I feel like I should remember, but it's like, whatever. It says, water is wet and abortion kills a human being. To which Lake Superior responded.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, Lake Superior responded with, Thomas, not even your first talking point is correct. Water is not wet. What water touches is wet. I'm confident I have a lot more experience in making things wet than you do.
Oh, damn.
I wasn't aware Ben Shapiro was in the house.
No, but he doesn't. He doesn't have experience making things wet.
He might maybe causing infections. That's the only thing that makes women wet, apparently.
Okay, now I gotta like cut my sampler out so that it just goes to the last part of the, like, it skips the Holy Ghost fire and goes the because like this deserves an air horn noise. Anyway, Meg Ha says, there's a trend I think I've only seen in the last 5 to 6 years of grown men crying when they see their bride walking down the aisle. I have to say it's extremely gay. Men shouldn't cry at such things. It should be reserved for extreme moments of pain, example, death.
Fellas, so, is it gay to feel?
Is it gay to marry a woman?
Fellas, is it gay to sleep with a woman? I mean, you're literally putting your penis somewhere that another penis, probably yours, has been in.
I now have 2 kids that are not genetically mine. So yeah, my penis sometimes goes where other penises have been. This ain't Star Trek out here. It's not going places where no man has gone before.
That's incredibly gay. Are you even attracted to women? You're actually just doing it so you can slide in where the penises have been. You're there.
I just
You're
like
there
to
for
know.
that essence of dick.
I like to know that the dick has touched it. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
I hope she's not listening. I hope she's not listening to this part.
There was another one of these that I saw that was like, it was saying that men shouldn't be like, women carry things. They carry purses and stuff. Men shouldn't carry things.
Yes,
they shouldn't carry water bottles.
I saw that one too. Yeah, no, men can't carry water bottles.
Fellas, is it gay to be hydrated?
Yeah, she's like, oh, I mean, a man needs to go everywhere with a little sippy cup and taking sips everywhere he goes. That's so gay. I'm like, is it gay to stay hydrated?
My initial reaction to that is like, well, fuck me and my need to stay hydrated.
So Senshini says marrying a woman is gay for men. It keeps the weakness of females in the bloodline. Only men can bear true warriors. There's an
So that
Oglaf
means
comic
the straightest thing men can do
is have gay
is
sex.
impregnate each other.
Oh no. Oh no. My partner is listening.
Sometimes.
I'm sorry.
Mine. So unfortunately for me, mine's over here giggling, listening to this shit.
Okay, but the Senshini's comment made me think of. Do you guys know the webcomic Oglaf?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a whole like series where like some guy is like, I don't know. It's been ages since I've seen that one, but it's very like there's a lot of male on male sex, but it's like done in a very masculine way, like I will conquer my enemy sort of thing. And
I'm gonna conquer my enemies, asshole.
and it's hilarious, and I wish I could show it to you guys, but like that, like the Jesus fucking Christ thing, that's borderline. Oglaf will for sure get me demonetized and potentially taken off of YouTube because it's absolutely sexually explicit, and I highly recommend it. It's hilarious.
But well, if your channel gets taken down, Rhino, you shouldn't cry at such things.
I'll just stream on my main channel. Like the whole reason this channel exists as a separate entity is so that I have a second monetized channel, so that if my first one goes down for something, I can be like, "Hey, everybody, go over to this one. I'll be there for a while," and vice versa. So that's the main reason I do this on two separate channels.
Wait. Why have you not made a secondary channel called Vice Versa?
Because I'm not clever like you, Cyrus.
Just stole it from you.
So Spartans did nothing but butt sex all day? Sure.
Canonically, actually,
Yeah. Wasn't there a whole legion of like Greek, like there's a whole legion of Greek troops that like their whole thing was that they were a bunch of gay couples?
They were a bunch of they fucked each other a lot because it increased their bonds and it made them more savage in battle, protecting their lovers.
And touching a woman before going into battle was a big no-no because then that would make you weaker. So you had to touch the men.
Like that's like technically, yeah, that's the thing that happened.
I can just imagine it now before they go into battle. It's like, hey, let me grab that dick a little bit.
Before I
need
can
a
hold
boost.
my sword, let me hold your wiener.
Let me sheath my sword into your anus.
I'm just imagining a meme of like, first picture has a hand with just like lotion covering it. The second picture has a hand with just carrying a great sword. My hands look like this, so his hands can look like that.
That's amazing. All right, so Morph says, normies will tell you with 100% certainty that the sun is 93 million miles away and call you names if you question it. So first off, I don't know that the sun's 93 million miles away because that's fucking imperial units. I don't understand that shit.
Secondly,
well, yeah, so...
Oh, you go on, John. Sorry.
Well, no, I was just going to say, yeah, the 93 million miles and whatever, of your Narnia meters.
150 kilometer, or 150 million kilometers. Sorry.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
Whatever it is in Narnia up there. But so yeah, that is the astronomical unit, 93 million miles. But also it's important to remember that it's not like 93 million miles like 365. Like it deviates. So I mean, like I think it deviates plus or minus like a million or 2 miles maybe.
Scott Delahunt's got the right idea. The sun is 1 astronomical unit away.
Yes.
on average. I think we have a Chuck Tingle reference in the chat. I got slammed in the butt by a whole Spartan decision, and then my life went south.
So I'm just going to say this right now. I can definitely tell that Morph is a guy. And the way I can tell this is, as guys, none of us have any fucking sense of scale or size.
Well, so he posted the picture here, and I guarantee you that what he's getting at with this picture is that the crepuscular rays, or sun rays, for the not so sophistry-minded people among you, Oh, now I hope my partner is listening because I forget what it is, but she misremembered the word sophistry as something else, and it was hilarious, and it was a sex thing, and I forget what it was.
Does it get her happy when you say big words?
No, she used a big word or whatever, and I just like kind of looked at her like, why you got to use sophistry all the time? You know, I was just kind of joking, but I guess she hadn't heard the word sophistry, so then I had to explain the word sophistry, and then she was like, you were using sophistry when you accused me of using sophistry. Like, yeah. Anyway,
I'm a crayon.
That's why I call them crepuscular rays instead of sunbeams. But like, well, because
I play video games and we call them god rays.
Well, they look like they're converging on the sun there, so like clearly the sun is close, otherwise they would be parallel, right? Except if you stand on a set of train tracks where the tracks are parallel and it's just going straight off into the distance, it looks like it converges because our eyes only have a certain amount of angular, what's it called?
I can't think of what the term is, but yeah,
polygamous.
You're right.
Polygamous. She misremembered the word sophistry as polygamous. I'm not sure how that happened.
See, now I'm just imagining a really fucking wordy dude with like 3 wives.
It made me do a double take. It's like, why are you being so polygamous? Like, what?
The other thing is like those rays, most of the reason that they look like they're converging like that is because of the way that the clouds are cutting in. The clouds are closer to you, and that's affecting your perspective.
Yeah. But I mean, there is a certain amount of angular resolution. Is that it? I don't know. Whatever.
Is it angular resolution or angular termination?
No, it's like something about how our eyes perceive things. Whatever, like as things go into the distance, they seem to converge.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't. It's angular something. I can't remember what it's technically called.
We're also bad at sophistry. We're also bad at polygamy.
Now I need.
Except for Cirrus. Cirrus is good at the polygamy.
God damn it!
Sorry, polyamory.
I only have
those
one
are
partner
different
right now. Thank you.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you're not polyamorous. That just means that you only have one partner at the moment.
No, and when people are bisexual but they're dating the opposite gender, that means they're straight.
Oh yeah, that's actually I started a podcast with my partner where she reads me relationship books and then we kind of roast them, like Christian relationship books. And someone on the first episode was like, "Oh, this is a great example of the straights being good for once." And I'm like, "Only one of us is straight." And even then, we're not entirely sure that I'm entirely straight. So, yeah, she's bi.
You just kind of sit there like, I think I'm heteroflexible, kind of.
So it's one of those things where it's like, I've never sucked a dick, and like the idea of sucking a dick isn't like immediately like to me, but like I don't want to.
Okay, but what about a girl's dick?
See, that's the thing. I don't know. I've never been in a situation where that's been relevant. I did when I was at the God Awful Movies live show in Toronto, like a year ago. I did like kind of hit on a trans woman that like maybe if they'd have actually come back to my room, something would have happened. I don't know. I got shot down though, so that didn't work out. So I've not had an opportunity to find out.
Is it? So y'all want to hear a story
Sure.
of mine concerning this very topic?
Okay.
So I was on. I just got a bad look from my wife. So I was on a trip for work to Japan.
I was gonna be like acid trip.
No, I was on my.
Christ.
I was on a trip to Japan for work, and I had to travel there with these 2 guys that were from Texas, from El Paso, Texas. And like we had some of the weirdest conversations. One of the conversations in the car, which made me incredibly uncomfortable, was the guy driving just looked over at me, looked back at the road, looked back over. Hey, John, if you was with a girl and then you realized that she had a dick, what would you do? And I was like,
Suck that dick.
I just like, did she suck mine? Then I guess I'm sucking hers. What do you want from me?
But I mean, I was incredibly uncomfortable because this is like a work thing, and like I'm incredibly uncomfortable. So I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, he said something to the effect of that, you just go ahead and finish, or like, the entire encounter or whatever. I can't remember how he put it, but I'm sure that it's a very misogynistic and homophobic kind of way. But basically, this guy from El Paso, Texas, said that he would have no problem, with a female or woman presenting person having a dick, like in a sexual encounter. And I'm just like, well, that's progressive of you.
So full disclosure, my partner is trans, and she's just laughing at this whole goddamn conversation.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is like I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I could do gay for pay if it came to a porno situation, so I feel like I wouldn't have a problem if I ended up dating someone who was trans. Like, I think about my partner now, and it's like, if everything was the same, except she also had a penis, like, well, I'm attracted to her, not specifically her genitals. So, like, yeah, if she had a penis, then, like, whatever. I'd be fine with that.
And I had many more questions about this scenario.
How did we get here from sun rays converge on the sun?
I don't know. Also, was the word we were looking for focal point?
I don't think so.
No, an angular resolution is about the amount of detail you can perceive in distant objects. So it wasn't.
That might have been it. I don't know. Whatever. The Earth's not flat. Get over it. Sun is 150 Sun is 150 million kilometers away.
That doesn't sound like freedom units.
Freedom units. I saw. Okay, so there was one that I saw that I didn't get here. Someone posted a video where it was like evangelicals during Pride Month. It's like, oh, pride is one of the 7 deadly sins. It's terrible. Pride cometh before the fall. Pride is terrible. Pride bad. Pride bad. And then 4th of July comes around. I'm proud to be an American. Why aren't you proud of your country? Are you not proud to be one of the greatest countries of the world? Well, no, the greatest country in the world.
I'm proud to be an American where the hospital ain't free.
You might die if you can't pay the fee. I don't know. So coming into our neighborhood, they've actually got like umpteen fucking American flags along with there's the American.
Sorry, my partner's in the chat saying, what, you don't like my genitals? I do like your genitals. I'm just saying that I would like you irrespective of your genitals.
You should just start playing the Show Me Your Genitals song right now.
That's a song?
You've never heard that song?
I don't know, I probably have.
Oh. It's early internet. It's really early YouTube.
Then I probably have heard it. I also know the Aladdin song. I can show you my cock.
What?
Have you heard that one? Porno?
No, it's. I think that one dates back to Newgrounds, which we talked about a few weeks ago. It's called.
Sounds very Smosh, like early Smosh.
It's A Whole Nude World.
Oh.
Casey just doesn't know what in the fuck is going on at this point. So
well, neither do any of us. So whatever, doesn't matter.
Look, there are rails here, and then there's wherever the fuck we are. I can't see the train tracks, but I know
so
just there.
Behind the scenes moment. Give you a peek behind the curtain here. When I was coordinating this whole thing or whatever, we weren't sure if Cirrus was going to join us. I scheduled John as a replacement for Cirrus because Cirrus is like, I'm in a hotel. I don't know if I'm going to have internet that's capable of streaming. I'm like, okay, I'll find a replacement because like we didn't stream last week and I don't like going 2 weeks without streaming. And being able to blame Cirrus for missing a stream is nice for once because it's usually me. But so I scheduled John as a replacement. And then when service was like, no, I think the internet will actually be able to handle it. Like, I can't guarantee it, but probably. I'm probably good. Depends how many other hotel guests sign on, I guess. So when I told John, they're like, oh, I need you to be like a few minutes early so that I can like figure out how to position 3 of us instead of 2 of us. I was like, oh, well, you know, I could just like sit this one out if Cirrus is okay with it or whatever. I'm like, no, it's fine. You like join us. 3 people's good. And then I sent him a message like all caps says, bring the chaos, baby.
Wait, is that bring the chaos baby or bring the chaos baby?
Why not both?
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm not gonna lie. Like when you're like, "Oh, John's a replacement," I'm like, "Oh, I haven't done stuff with G in a while." Huh? I'll fucking do that.
My partner says, "Show us your genitals." I don't know if that was just if that's directed at all of us.
I mean, the most I could do for you is like, this isn't doing anything for you. I can't do much else.
Well, you need to get your artist to make more detailed avatars for you.
Okay, so I have a 3D model that I can rotate and do panty shots with because it's 3D.
Why?
Because it's 3D, so that's just a thing that VC Face does, is you can rotate models that you're using.
Oh, okay.
And the model's based in Vroid, and all the Vroid models have underwear because the only other options are genitalia or the dark abyss. Take your pick.
Why not? I kind of like the dark abyss option.
That's what they did in Smash Brothers for Princess Peach. In Melee, they actually let you see her bloomers for some reason. So in later ones, they were just like, nope, it's a empty void up there now. Players can't see knee-length bloomers on Princess Peach. It's scandalous.
Plow King says, "What a sausage fest."
Yeah.
You don't know that we all have penises. You don't know that.
You don't know what I have in my pants.
I mean, I do have a penis. I'm sorry for that.
When did Mickey Mouse join us? Shit.
You better not say that name. I'll have a copyright ready to sue your ass.
Well, we do have a Jordan Peterson quote, so get your Kermit ready. Anyway, Nick Papagiorgio. So this was in the middle of like an argument that I was having with this person with regards to like the existence of trans people.
Yeah.
Where they kept on like I would post links to peer-reviewed articles. Like I have the if you go to what is it? linktr.ee/rhinotransresearch. I've compiled a list of like a bunch of like peer-reviewed papers about trans people. It's everything from like, this is how we know that being trans is a real thing. This is how we know that giving gender-affirming care results in the best outcomes. This is the effects of puberty blockers on children, which like, yeah, puberty blockers, they are reversible. But there are some side effects that people should know about. And the kids who take them are given informed consent, so they do know about them. So it's not like they're like, that's one of the big misconceptions, that like if a kid says I'm trans, then immediately they book a surgery for that kid and they physically alter their body in irreversible ways. Like, no. Kid says I feel like I might be trans, and they wait until puberty starts, wait until the first effects of puberty actually happen, and then they think about maybe doing puberty blockers, which are reversible, which give them another like 3 or 4 years to work out whether they're actually trans or whether there's something else psychological going on there, whether there's some like trauma related stuff. And gender affirming care for anyone has a greater than 99% effectiveness. Like greater than 99% of people who get gender affirming care do not detransition, which means it is one of the most successful medical treatments in human history. Like every other medical treatment does not have that sort of success rate. But this person, after I give them all that peer-reviewed information, they're like, no, they're like, it's political. It's not scientific, it's political. And then they sent me a bunch of articles that agreed with me which I'm not sure whether, like, so there's two options here. I either caught them in, like, they just read the headline and didn't read the article itself and thought that it agreed with them, and
that one.
and then they tried to, like, walk it back and, like, lie about why they were sending me that, or they were telling the truth, and what they were sending me is, like, what he's been claiming is that the reason he sent me those articles is to prove that it's based on politics, not actual science. So when the science says that being trans is real and giving gender affirming care is the best option, that's clearly political.
Yeah, that sounds
Was
like
that
a
one
dumbass
Bill
right
Nye
there.
quote where he said science is political, but that was more about fighting for funding and
Mhm.
fucking dealing with creationists.
Anyway, you two can process that for a second. I'm going to grab another beer.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't know. That's it. That's the wild thing is just when you hand somebody peer reviewed studies, and you're just like, here's this thing that's been cited by X people. What's your response? No, I'm on Twitter. My default response has to be short, quippy, and toxic. It can't be well thought out.
Right. Yeah, honestly, I think I can't remember when it was, but it's been a while. But I've just decided that I'm not going to like engage people like that on Twitter. Like there are some people I feel okay engaging with, but then there's the ones that are I would rather just not.
I have a very random approach to it. Sometimes I'll engage people that, like, I don't know, because I have enough followers that it's like if I engage this person, people will see, like, I don't expect that I'm going to change Nick's mind about anything, but like there will be people that are just like sitting back and watching it. And I remember being one of those people at one point. And like your mind, like if you see someone that you respect going after the transphobes and bringing a bunch of scientific data, and then seeing that the transphobes will bring the same scientific data, but then just say like, oh, well, it's political without actually backing that up.
My sources, I made it the fuck up, Jack.
Like, so, like, I don't know how many people's minds might have been changed by seeing this interaction without actually being a part of it. And yes, I said I was going to get a beer, and I stopped on the way for a Puddles. We see a Puddles.
I mean, to be fair, they're probably just as good of a coping mechanism as any alcohol.
Oh, Puddles is way better than alcohol.
Well, then you upgraded.
Although she's been in heat recently, so she's a bitch. Like, I get why that term came to mean female dog, because it is so satisfying to look at her misbehave and be like, why you gotta be such a bitch? It's like, you can't get mad, that's the scientifically accurate term.
I mean, I just think getting mad about the word bitch is kind of immature anyway.
It depends how it's being used.
I just think they shouldn't be a bitch about it. That's just me.
That's what I'm saying.
That's fair. Anyway, she's made herself cozy down where you guys can't see her, so sorry about that.
Now you can't get a beer.
Dr. Jordan B. Peterson.
Yes.
Cyrus, do the honors. It's a short one.
Look, I'll prove it publicly.
You can do
That's
better.
not-
You
that's
can
not
do
the
better.
current-
You can do better.
I know. Prove it publicly.
There you go. There you go. Oh, Fennec is asking, will Puddles be getting spayed? Yes, but we have to. You're supposed to wait until after they've gone into heat once, or well, once or twice ideally, but like once at minimum. Otherwise, they kind of like there's some behaviors that they retain that are like juvenile behaviors that you don't necessarily want. Like, for instance, peeing when they get excited, which she had a big problem with. That's one of the reasons we would joke that Puddles was a very appropriate name for her.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, so Professor Peter Hotez, whatever, he linked to a article on time.com titled "Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is dead wrong about vaccines," and I went to the article. It was very well written and it was well sourced. Like every claim he made had like a bit of text in the claim that was hyperlinked, and the hyperlink would more often than not lead to rigorous peer-reviewed research supporting that claim. And Jordan Peterson says, prove it publicly that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is dead wrong about vaccines. Like,
But that's exactly what he's doing there.
Is a publicly available article with publicly available scientific research not public?
No. What Peterson is asking is, hey, pay for Twitter Blue and then write a full dissertation on Twitter so that I can read it right here and not have to do any kind of like actual work myself.
What he's saying,
worse than that.
no, what he's saying
he
is
wants to debate.
He's saying he wants Peter Hotez to debate. No, Peter Hotez. I'm sorry, I'm saying his name wrong. He's saying he wants Dr. Hotez to debate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on the Joe Rogan show. Because he was challenged to a debate, and Dr. Hotez was like, no, why the fuck would I do that?
Right.
Because,
especially because
why the fuck would he?
I mean, especially when you can just, like, literally give them the mountains of evidence that we have, contradicting the claim.
It's just one of those things where you're like, So Peterson, he's a psychologist, right? He's not an idiot. He's not.
Are you sure?
Maybe he used to not be. I think he is now. He's deteriorating.
I understand he's deteriorating and crying over fucking Pinocchio, and it's hilarious. But I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt that he's not an idiot because his time studying psychology, his time just studying how people work, he knows that rhetoric, quippy rhetoric, is infinitely more effective at not changing people's minds, but retaining people who already agree with you than mountains of evidence. Because we're a very lazy species. We really are.
Yeah,
we love just those. We love quippy sound bites. We love people who are, especially fucking Republicans, love people that just sound right and sure in their stance, whether or not it's correct. He knows that. So putting this person on a stage with someone else, it legitimizes the other position, even though there's no legitimacy to the anti-vaccine position. And it gives him an avenue where they can have those short, quippy sound bites, like John was noting before with Marjorie Taylor Greene. It gives them that arena where that can happen, because the best scientist, the best researcher, who's the most articulate in a paper when talking about these things, might not be able to do that live on a stage.
Probably won't be able to do that live
on a stage. I think
Peterson
knows that.
And then they keep posting pictures of like Peter Hotez next to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Oh, the whole does this guy
I'd rather
know more
take
about health than the buff guy?
Yeah, it's like, no, you can know a lot about health and not follow your own advice. Like, I know that eating an entire bag of chips is not good for me. That doesn't stop me from doing it.
I know that going to finish off that Philly cheesesteak is a lot of calories.
Also, if you're all buff and with like six pack and all that, like if you do that by like, I don't know, taking steroids or something, you could have heart problems and look perfectly fit.
You also get a very tiny dick.
Yeah. Even if you're not doing steroids, it's actually fairly regular for like people that are super fit like that to have health problems, like specifically heart problems, because of the issues that they have with like their workout regimen and their restrictive diets and stuff like that. Someone super chatted enough money that we saw the MAGA guy fall down on the bike. Nice. So what do the numbers on the bottom left of the video stream mean? I assume that's the session top tipper and super chatter. So like you are now the top super chatter, Rosalind Keller, or no, Rosina Keller, and Heather is the top tipper. Tip is if you send it through PayPal, but specifically the Stream Elements link if you want it to show up here. And PayPal works a little better for me because YouTube doesn't take their 30% cut, but it's also harder for me to see the message because YouTube doesn't get their cut, so they don't make it easy to integrate with the stream. Yeah.
And that's just like I think because Peterson has been with that crowd of like him, Walsh, Shapiro, all of them for long enough, he knows the power of fucking rhetoric. He gets it. He knows it. He's going to exploit it as much as he can because that's his grift. He has to do that because he can't survive off of the salary of a college professor anymore because he's not allowed to fucking do that anymore.
Oh, I hope he loses his license at some point because there's no way that he could still practice psychology spouting the shit that he spouts.
One would think, but I don't know. I feel like I feel like he'd probably have to break some kind of like ethical thing, which I don't know if he technically is doing.
I feel like his whole career is him breaking ethical things.
Like
my brain an ethical thing because he breaks it most of the time.
The reason he's famous is for lying about adding protections for trans people to the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Bill C-16?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like that's the thing that made him famous was saying that people are going to go to prison for not using your preferred pronouns. With Bill C-16, and you can actually go to a website that tracks how many people have gone to prison, and spoiler, it's zero. Zero people have gone to jail over not using preferred pronouns in Canada since the passage of C-16.
And now he's
all it did was
threatening violence to people if they call him cis.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm sorry, he's not threatening violence. He's just saying, if you call me cis, watch what happens.
Yeah, but what happens with him is he's just going to break down and cry about it. Because that's what he does now. Which, like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's no, like, men can cry. Like, apparently, apparently it's gay to cry at your own wedding, to a woman, but...
I hope he doesn't carry a water bottle with him.
Anyway, let's move on. Frank Turek says, okay, this is extra funny because he actually rephrased this today and he took out the not so subtle idea that God can only deal with evil by killing the evil people, because I guess he realized that wasn't a good look, so he took that part out. He says, whenever I ask the question, why doesn't God stop all the evil in the world, I never think, why don't you stop me, God? I'm always thinking, why doesn't he stop that other guy? If God were to stop evil tonight at midnight, would you still be alive at 12:01?
You can think of 1,000 ways for a god to stop evil that don't involve just killing all of the evil people. Moreover, if you think that's the only way he can fucking do it, then you don't believe in an all-creative god. You believe in a god who's really fucking dumb.
Really limited, really dumb.
It's like, stop all the evil by performing more evil.
So, at 7 a.m. this morning, he reworded this. He said, when you ask the question, if God exists, why is there evil? I can almost guarantee you that when you're considering this question, why doesn't he stop evil? You're thinking about somebody else doing evil. You never think about yourself doing evil, or you rarely do. So he took out the part about, if God were to stop evil tonight at midnight, would you still be alive? So, like, he recognized that that's a really stupid way to look at this. And, like, I mean, credit to him. If Frank Turek recognized that it was stupid, then, like, it's stupid.
But it also means that he's definitely hip-firing more often than he's actually contemplating the weight of his words.
Well, I wonder if Frank even runs his own Twitter. Like, I feel like he has someone that does that for him. But also, like, the quality of his Twitter is such that it's like, that kind of matches the quality of the Apologetics. So maybe it's him.
It's Cameron.
Maybe.
Little did we know.
Cameron does do a lot of things for, like, all of these popular online apologists, like Frank Turek and all of them. I know William Lane Craig, he's done a lot of things for him. like as far as like taking headshots, a few I've noticed a lot of Cameron's like editing techniques that I've seen in Capturing Christianity videos appear in like Frank Turek or J. Warner Wallace or William Lane Craig videos. So I mean, I think that Cameron's pretty well like embedded into that particular community.
Kind of sad for somebody so
He's-
dumb.
And he's clearly like just chasing the trends too. Is like he converted to Catholicism almost explicitly with the goal of making more money, because like his conversion was like, oh, and now I need like $3,000 more a month, and I'm a Catholic now, so Catholics, you better start giving.
He
and-
converted around the same time S.J. Thomason converted, which was really
Yeah, but
weird.
then a few months later, when it wasn't going well for him because people were criticizing him for converting, he suddenly was like, "Oh, I'm not going to talk about denominations anymore. I'm not saying what denomination. Maybe I'm still Catholic. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. And I'm not going to tell you."
Yeah.
Mm.
He's a shitty bitch.
Yeah, he's
Casey,
I heard
just
that.
said
I heard
he's a
that.
shady bitch.
he is.
Yeah.
What do you
To be
think?
fair, the
What do you think,
majority of
Puddles? Is Cameron a
apologetics
bitch?
is being a shady bitch.
Is Cameron a shady bitch, Puddles? What do you think? She thinks she heard the door open, so she's going to see that my partner's home. Okay, off
She
you go,
needs
off
to
you go.
go. She's trying
Bye.
to go find a shady bitch. She thinks that there's an Amazon delivery driver right outside being a shady bitch.
No, she's a people doggy. She doesn't like being left alone, so she heard there's a new people in the house, so I'm going to go see that people.
Ah, fair enough.
Anyway, that's the last tweet, so yeah, let's call it a night.
Fair enough.
Awesome.
All right, thanks for joining me, John. Thanks for joining me, Cirrus. And as
Hey,
always,
thanks for letting me crash and totally name drop you.
no worries. It was fun. I've been doxxed by bigger people than any of us today.
Well, yeah.
All right, thanks for joining me. As always, fuck off.